Hello, everybody. This is Brian Downing from quantlabs.net. I got Jared, founder of QuantConnect, on board. Go ahead, Jared.
Hi everyone, very nice to meet you. I'm Jared Broad, founder of QuantConnect.com. I'm an engineer, a trader. I've been doing quant software for about 5 years now. And I just thought I'd give you a quick overview of the platform and how it works, and step you through one of my favorite books and actually implementing the suggestions from that book. So it's called Inside the Black Box, and it's done by a very well-established quant, and I hope that you can all learn something. And but feel free to interrupt and ask questions and poke and prod, and I'm hoping that I can show you a full demo of QuantConnect and what we can do. So first, before we dive into code, I thought I'd give you a quick summary of what is QuantConnect, where do we come from, what are we trying to do. So we started, roughly 2.5, 3 years ago now. I was doing algorithmic trading myself, gathering all the data myself, writing my own backtesting platform, executing through interactive brokers on their API, raising capital myself, and it's exhausting, just utterly exhausting. And it's impossible to be full-time designing strategies and trying to keep up with the market, and at the same time, fundraising and tuning your models and coming up with new strategies. And so that's really where QuantConnect was formed from, was that there's thousands of other engineers like myself who want to do this, but we don't all want to repeat the wheel. We don't need to gather the same data. We don't need to write the same execution. So QuantConnect was formed to save all that effort. So we provide everything for free on an open platform online. You can design and test your ideas using our tech library. So we have US equities financial data for the entire universe back to 1998, down to the tick resolution, and foreign exchange for about 13 currencies back till April 2007. So we want to try and combine that with the best of cloud computing so that you can backtest things faster than what you could possibly do on your home computer. So this is just a screenshot. It's got a coding environment where you can design these strategies in your web browser and see how they would have performed. And then the idea is, with exactly the same algorithm, because we've already written and done all the legwork, you can just flip it to live mode and then execute your strategy live. So that's briefly about QuantConnect. I'll give you a quick overview about this particular book and the strategies, the framework that he talked about in the book. And then I thought we could sort of sketch it out in QuantConnect. And I've made all the code available, so if you're online, you can actually follow online and clone the project and write it and edit it yourself as we're talking. So this is the book. And this is the rough model that I wanted us to implement today in QuantConnect. So I hope I'm pronouncing this right, but Narang, or Rishi Narang.
That's right.
Is good. He's trying to reduce the quantitative trading model from the sort of mystical black box model that people talk about in the media to a few simple building blocks that make up a foundational quant strategy. And there's a lot of scripts out there that, if you see the RSI get above this number, then you buy, and above this number, then you sell. And those sorts of scripts miss a lot of the finesse of a true quantitative model. And I think what Inside the Black Box was trying to do is sort of break it down to the minimum mature model of an actual algorithmic strategy that you'd want to put your money into. without risking an arm and a leg. So he broke these components down, and it's all in the book. And there's no affiliation with QuantConnect and Inside the Black Box. It's just a book I appreciate. But he breaks it down into this alpha model, where you're generating the signals, the trading signals. A risk model, where you're trying to manage your capital and ensure you're only trading. Can I do a pointer? Yeah, let's see if I can do a pointer. Can you see me highlighting?
We can see your little arrow.
You can see the arrow, okay.
Yeah, that's good enough, yeah.
Yeah, so then you break it into this risk model, and then so you try and manage your capitals, and then a transaction cost model to model the slippage and the per trade fees. And for example, if the markets are moving quickly, or you put a penny stock which has very little depth, what is the actual transaction cost going to be? And then to build this portfolio and execute it in the markets, and send the actual trades and get them filled at optimal prices. And so this data part's not really relevant for this discussion, but that's also in his sketch. But so yeah, that's the model we'll implement. I'll come later. I'll show you a video of the live trading, but I'll skip that for now, and we'll go straight to the website. So feel free to interrupt me if anybody.
Somebody asked a question about if you're going to put your slide deck up on Meetup, or you'll be able to make it available.
Absolutely, yeah. There's only 4.
Okay.
You won't miss much.
There you go, Serge.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, so here's QuantConnect. The front page. It's free to sign up, free to do everything right up until it starts to cost us, really. Log in, and you're presented with this home page, landing page. We're in the middle of a crowdfunding campaign at the moment. So we started off as a closed source company, and I've always wanted to be open source, but we were always wondering about the business model and if we could make a business model being an open source company. So we thought, what the hell, let's give it a go. And if we can reach 100 subscribers, then we'll open source it, and we'll be fully open source company that you can download the core engine and run it locally and do backtesting locally. So we're almost there, really close.
Join now.
So I think in the next week or so we'll make it. But we've got a special discount for the first 100 subscribers. And the pioneers get a $10 a month subscription, and it includes a live trading server running the QuantConnect stack. It's pretty cool. So anyway, here is the discussion feed. You can see community shared algorithms, and the QuantConnect University. So in the university, you can actually see the algorithm that I hacked together for this webinar, and you can clone it and implement a copy in your project. And, here is the core framework code that I've sketched up for the webinar. So we've broken it down into the core modules. Yeah. Alpha, risk, transaction cost modeling, execution, portfolio construction. So that's all slightly different, but more or less the same here. You've got your asset manager for selecting the universe of symbols, an alpha manager for generating the actual signals, whatever it be, a risk manager for taking those signals, moderating them, and a exit manager for controlling your timing for when you want to exit a particular holding. And then finally an execution manager. So for executing a given set of instructions in a sort of rigorous way. So I suppose the best place to start would be the universe selection, to selecting the assets. And this is a super simple algorithm, although when you lay it out like this, it looks like a lot of code, but it really doesn't do much. So I'll dive right in with the asset manager here. So with the asset manager, all it's trying to do is get a universe of stocks and generate those stocks that we want for this day, for this day's trading. And so it just simply, in this one, it doesn't do any filtering or universe selection at all. It just takes whatever the universe is that we have and returns it every single day, so that every day we're scanning the same universe of stocks. It does a little bit of asset properties calculation. So if you want to say, for example, select your universe of stocks based on certain properties, if you have any stock which is above its moving average, so you could calculate the moving average of the stock and then filter the symbols which match that. And then you have this module which simply calculates that universe based on your particular criteria. But for the purpose of the demonstration, this one does nothing like that. It just selects the universe that we're following. Before I continue, is there any other questions?
Just type them up in the chat box in the lower right. Anybody? Serge? You have a lot of questions. No? Anybody? Questions? Just type them up. Everybody's shy tonight. Go ahead.
I remember everyone being very interactive when it comes to Python versus C#.
Yeah.
So I'm used to a much more engaging discussion. You guys can feel free to interrupt. Feel free to ask questions.
Yeah. Maybe I'm a tyrant for all I know.
Okay, so we have this universe selection. So the next step is generating our output, generating our signal. So that's this next module, and it just takes the list of assets and generates our signal. One second.
Oh, question came up. It's from Serge. Can you mention the benefits to donating to the fund sourcing, or do you want to leave that to the end, or?
Sure. I can't see the question.
Well, there's on the right. You should see something called a chat. That's where all the questions pop up.
I see the chat. I just don't see the.
It says to organizers only. That's probably only to me.
Okay. Sure. Right. Well, we're a startup. You'd be pioneering a open sourcing quant endeavor where we're community funded. We're independent of other funding, so keeps our interests aligned with yours. We would give you basically the world's first hybrid desktop and cloud computing platform. So you can design an algorithm entirely locally and then upload it to the cloud for optimization. And using our data source in the cloud, so you don't have to use your local data source or buy a local data source. And then on top of that, hopefully this month we're going to be opening up the live trading to the public, and then when it's open, you'll get a dedicated live trading server, so that your algorithm's running on a live server. It's got an interface to see your strategy trading. Yeah. Brian, do you know how to change to rival sounds?
To rival sounds, you said?
To turn off all the arrival noises, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That I don't know.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Okay. So with the asset manager, with the alpha manager, we just want to generate a trading signal and do it in a way that we're not immediately executing the idea. So for example, I need to generate a portfolio and I want it to rebalance over time when the price is optimal. So you could, I want to be, at the moment, I'm 100% long Apple, and I want to be 100% long the S&P. And you just need to tell it what to do and then let the execution engine handle the rest. So in the alpha module, we're just trying to generate the direction and generate the signal or the portfolio or the allocation about what we want it to be. And we don't actually do any logic or thinking about the execution. So we separate those two tasks and let each one do its own task properly. So this is the alpha generator for this strategy, and it's generating a list of portfolio targets. So, yeah, no worries. It generates a list of portfolio targets. So Apple 100% or S&P 100%, or if we add in a new symbol, we add in the Russell index, but we only want 20%. So we just need to generate those targets based on our strategy. And the actual strategy isn't that important. So for the sake of this one, it just generates, it rebalances the portfolio based on the VIX. So when the VIX is very high, it reduces its holding in equities. And when the VIX is very low, we go long equities. And it just shuffles the cash between those two assets. So then, after we go through the alpha, we go into the risk manager. And so the risk manager might say, okay, if you want to go 100% long the S&P, that might go against some of our rules for the maximum risk that we're allowing in the portfolio. Maybe it's going to have, the risk manager would limit the number of assets in technology so that you don't have a portfolio which is too skewed to the technology sector. And so you can use the asset manager to know the properties of the assets and the portfolio targets to know what you're trying to do. And then decide if you're going to let that trade go through. Are you going to permit that portfolio target to be passed through the system? And for this one, we actually don't do anything at all. We don't do any risk control whatsoever. You might want to change that for reality when you do actual trading. Yeah, skim past that one. And same for the exit manager. So we've been given a set of targets, which is fine, but sometimes it depends on how you're executing your strategy. There's a lot of people that have more intelligent stop loss techniques or profit capturing techniques, which is almost like an entirely separate style of algorithm. So I won't go into it here, but we were designing sort of more of a portfolio rebalancing long-term strategy, and it doesn't quite apply. But here you could also build in exit stop loss techniques, where you scan the current holdings of the algorithm for exit opportunities. And so that's its own dedicated module, which isn't quite inside the black box, but it's just a little addition. And then finally, an execution manager. So we have here the execution manager, and it needs to take a set of portfolio targets, where we want our portfolio to go, and then execute them in whatever way is best. So in this case, we've written 2 execution scenarios. It's executing immediately, just screw market pricing. Let's just jump in there and place the trade and hope we don't move the market. And then using a longer term standard deviation based entry. So when the price is favorable in this minute or this hour or this day, execute in pieces or as a whole using the standard deviation execution. And I'll just go briefly into the immediate execution because it's actually more complex than you think. Can you all still hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Perfect. So it's a little bit more complicated than you think. If you have a portfolio already and you want to just, if you're 100% long S&P and you want to go 100% long Apple, you need to scale down your S&P and scale up your Apple. And as a human, that's very easy to do in your head, but for the code, we need to do a few things before we can get there. So first we go through our targets, where we want to be, and we look at the difference between the target and where we are now. And so if we've got a fixed amount of cash that we're working with, which we always do in reality, you've got to scale down your holdings in other symbols before you can scale up your holdings in new ones. So you first need to sell your S&P 500 before you can go long Apple. Otherwise, you'd run out of cash to do the trade. So firstly, we go through and we find where we need to remove targets, we need to remove stocks, so that we can free up the buying power and free up our cash. So we remove them, and then from here, so here we have an order. We do the reduction first, and then after we've done the reduction, then we do the increases. Say, for example, from 0 to 100%, we would do second after we do the first reduction. And then once that's done, we can clean up. So that's just like executing immediately. You have to schedule the order of your trades a little bit more intelligently than you would if you're a person, you'd just do it automatically in your head. And same for the standard deviation. You need to still do the reduction first, but if you're waiting, for example, if the command was saying that we want to go 100% long Apple, and we're already 100% long the S&P, and we need to wait for the opportune time to exit the S&P before we can enter into Apple. And so the execution manager really just takes care of those semantics and takes care of the actual execution and the trades and the trade sizes and the moment that it enters the market. And using proper execution, you can significantly improve the Sharpe ratio of your strategy. So I give a couple of examples there in immediate execution and standard deviation based execution.
So
I think maybe. Yeah, sorry, go on, Brian.
Yeah, I was just going to say, if there's anybody's got any questions so far, just type them up in the chat in the lower right. Send them to the entire audience or my cell phone, and I'll repeat them out. Anybody?
Yeah, just thinking actually, that was probably way too complex. Is this one time? Sorry. Thinking if I add in smaller units. In this particular example, it's for the immediate execution, it does it in one event. For the standard deviation based execution, it divides it up. But before I'm really sorry, I should have started with something much simpler.
Oh, don't worry.
So that people can get an overview of the whole system before we dive into something that complex. So with QuantConnect, you implement algorithms. You initialize the algorithm, you set the date range, the cache, and the data feed that you want, and then you get that data in an event handler. And that's about it. The S&P data, you want minute resolution S&P. I want $25,000 cash with that algorithm, and this is where the data events are going to come in. And this one is just the minimum template, and all it does is it says, if I don't have anything in my portfolio, then I want to buy something. And that's it. And then you can build the algorithm here and run a backtest in the web browser. So here, here's the lean engine, the underlying source code running the backtest, and then generating the equity curve for that backtest. And you can benchmark it with various indexes, FTSE, the S&P 500. There we go. And so this backtest is 2 years. 2 years, and it finished in just over 10 seconds. And most of that's a spin up time. So our benchmark is roughly 10 years of minute resolution data in about 45 seconds.
Just so another question came up from Jeff. Was the Sharpe ratio and drawdown of the strategy?
Sorry, of that last strategy, I can't remember. 1 second.
Comment came in from... Sorry, go ahead.
The Sharpe ratio here is almost 1.9. The expectancy, I don't know if it really applies here. It's a portfolio strategy. The drawdown is 9.7 on this trading ETFs mostly. That's in the university here. You can clone it here. The algorithm framework dash inside the black box. And you can actually follow along in your own browsers if you want. But there's only a few backtesting nodes running, so don't everyone run backtests at the same time, otherwise I won't be able to show you anything else. Do you have any papers on how one measures the processing speed of the cloud? We haven't written any papers. We measure the processing speed from when the job, the task arrives at the server until it's finished. I don't know if that answers your question.
Another question came in from Stephen as well, or Steve. Or it's really a comment, really.
Yeah, thank you. So I hope so. We certainly are trying to be a quantitative trading platform. It's not really, we're trying to combine the cloud with free financial data and become a professional quality quantitative trading platform. But it wouldn't take much, sure. But try and do it for near free. We do it for as free as we can for the quants. At the moment, we're looking to generate revenues as either a subscription or through brokerage revenues, through ways that maintain our neutrality so that we don't ever have a conflict of interest with our user base. So yeah, just jumping back to the simple template. Does anyone have any questions about the basics of the API or how it works, or what this basic algorithm is doing?
Anybody? Just type them up. You can always open up the channel if you want as well for audio. Anybody?
Oh, sure. How do I do that?
No, that's at my end.
Okay.
So if anyone wants to jump in audio-wise, it's just to reduce the background noise.
Sure. Just to give people an overview, this is the core items in an algorithm. Underneath, we take care of the portfolio management and the transaction management. So for example, when you request data, it's added to the security manager. It's a collection of security objects like Apple and IBM, and there's a security manager. And then when you have a bunch of trades from different symbols, it's managed in the portfolio. So inside of the portfolio object, there's a whole lot of properties there to make it easy for you to access the total net profit, the total fees paid, and that sort of thing. And then in the same way, there's the transaction manager, which manages all the underlying order processing, fill management, running the fill models if it's a back test, updating the portfolio with the latest order execution info. And we sort of take care of all of that plumbing underneath the surface so that you don't really need to worry about it. And at the same time, we take care of all the order event plumbing, synchronizing, generating the data, pumping it into your algorithm, and then try and provide a whole lot of API methods. There's a bunch of them there, but I'll have to open source it for you to really get the most of it.
Another question came in.
Can MetaTrader code be translated into QuantConnect directly? I hope so. I wouldn't be able to say a confident yes or no for that one. MetaTrader has been around for a long time, so some of the things in MetaTrader we're just starting to add now, and we haven't even got documentation for them. So, for example, we just added this project. This project to the university. It's called the EMA and SMA indicators. So even just the basic, exponential moving average indicators. We added these to the underlying API very recently, so that you can simply go EMA is equal to the symbol of what you want as a string, and then the period, and then whatever the resolution of that period is. So in this particular case, the fast object here will be a 15-day EMA on the S&P 500 on the SPY ETF. And so you can do all of that with one line of code, and then start using the fast EMA here in your strategy however you want. And then on top of that, we've actually, I hope it's not too cool. Stephen just says that it's pretty close to post 600 version of 54. Is that recent or late? What is the most recent version?
Well, I know there's MQL. No.
We're doing. We sort of wanted to keep it close to the C# code base. So, for example, you can do RSI. RSI isn't public yet, but you'll be able to do this, like RSI, whatever. And then you go .of, and you can have the of method. So then RSI, EMA of RSI, for example. So that you can do these extension methods where you can get indicators or averages of the key value of the RSI. Yeah, we're trying to keep it as dynamic and flexible as the underlying C#. It's pure C# underneath.
Do you want to take one more question and then so you can move on? Because we got two outstanding.
Sure.
I just put one in from Serge so you can see it.
What is to protect my intellectual property if it runs on a website and not protected on my computer? It's a good question, and there's not much I can do. we need the algorithm in order to backtest it on the cloud. So if you want to use the data in the cloud, you have to put your algorithm in the cloud. But if you don't, then you could always just download the open source engine and run it entirely locally. And you can still use all of QuantConnect locally on your computer. There's nothing to stop you doing that if it's if you're concerned. I think what we try and do is it's myself, Gustavo, in the company. We're human. We're here. We're not a big corporation, and we try and align our interests with you, so that we wouldn't want to steal your code. We want you to be successful and be using QuantConnect forever. So, for example, we're trying to talk to startup hedge funds and startup financial companies who want to use the QuantConnect engine to found their businesses on the QuantConnect engine, which is really exciting because there's the obvious, which is a startup hedge fund, but then people are using QuantConnect as a generic time series analysis machine. So you can really flex the underlying engine of QuantConnect to quite a degree. And I suppose a nice example of this is importing external data sources. And here I've imported live Bitcoin data, and it really only takes 3 or 4 lines of code to import live Bitcoin data into QuantConnect. When the data feed is coming from live trading, this is the API to pull it from. And then there's a few lines of code down here to convert the JSON into an object, and that's it. And then you're trading with live Bitcoin data through QuantConnect. Nice. with 10 lines of code.
We got one last question I posted for Serge, and we'll just try to get moving on, I guess.
Sure. It's the financial data. In here in the data manager, you can see where we get the data from, and you can search the data available. So it's from a company called QuantQuote. QuantQuote are I think they're a fairly reputable data company. They have splits and dividend adjusted data. It's all survivorship bias free. So we have all the delisted companies, and you can access the delisted companies through the data manager here. You just search for what you want. The only limitation on our engine at the moment is that we don't have a sort of portfolio selection where you can select the S&P 500 for the last 10 years, including all the ones that move in and out of the S&P 500. But that's on the cards for January 2015. We're going to build and launch that by the end of January this month. Where does it come from? Yeah, so that answers that. It comes from QuantQuote. Our foreign exchange data comes from FXCM. There, of course, everyone knows FXCM. And we have a selection of foreign exchange symbols there. But I think the most versatile and powerful thing is you can actually import any data into QuantConnect. You're not limited. So if you don't trust our data sources, it's 5 lines of code to import your own. Even if it's a large data source, if it's a 100 megabyte data source, it's fine. Just tell us where to get it from and how to read it, and then we can backtest on it.
I think if you want to move on.
Cool. Well, I suppose I didn't have much more planned. Okay. I just wanted to show you a quick video of running to live trading. Hoping you can all see my screen.
Yep, we can see it so far, I think.
Can you see a video?
Not yet. End of slideshow, click.
All right, 1 second.
No problem.
It's actually on YouTube.
If you want.
So once you've got the algorithm running, get your backtest going, get it, you're happy with the strategy. At the moment, it's just our beta trial people, but you can actually deploy it live here. And here, I'll just skip ahead a little bit. Yeah, so then the market opens and we get the Yahoo's data starts streaming in and our equity plummets in the first minutes of the trading. And we start getting our live stream of custom Bitcoin data streaming in. And then just skipping ahead. You can see your portfolio holdings here and the trades. This demo actually doesn't do any trading. It's just doing the data streams. But then you can do the trading, and you see the trades show up in the trades console. And we've got the liquidate and stop stop algorithm buttons on the controller.
Right.
So yeah, okay. I suppose that's us.
Wow.
If anybody has any more questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Hopefully there's a lot more. Thanks a lot for doing that. That was awesome.
No problem at all.
I had some questions, but I think people have already asked them. Anybody else got any questions? I can open it up to whoever wants. Got any other questions at all? For Jared? Anybody? Come on, guys. Or are you guys all questioned out? Here we go. Here's a question from Steven.
Yeah, I think there's 8.5, almost 9,000 of us now. So there are a lot of good engineers in that group. So we're thinking of opening it up to like a marketplace where people can post strategies and ask for strategies to be developed. And we do get a lot of people that are looking for that. And for a little while there, QuantConnect also offered support services to help you program your strategy. But it's just a little bit too. We can't do support and maintain the underlying code base. It was just too demanding. But so for now we're focused on the developing the technology.
It's a good question from Serge.
You can't actually.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, you can't. The question is whether or not we can program QuantConnect to use local GPUs. Maybe. It'd be a fun project. You might have a little bit of hacking to get it to go, but the way that it's architected, I can show you a quick.
Hi, my name is Jared Broad with QuantConnect.
So this is soon going to be in the open source documentation. I really hope you can see it.
Yeah, we can. Well, part of it. Yeah.
Okay. I'll just have to zoom in and go bit by bit.
Sure.
This is the sort of core engine loop that's running on the cloud. It's work on a task queue system. So if you have local GPUs with 100 GPUs, you could set up 100 jobs being sent to 100 GPUs in theory. That could be quite a challenge.
Yeah.
But a lot of fun. So here, yeah, we sort of set up the task system, we create the algorithm. We have a setup handler here. So we take the job and execute the algorithm, set it up, we figure out what data it needs, figure out the portfolio and the cache and the setup and properties of the algorithm, and then launch the actual engine itself into threads. And those threads are really the top ones are the data thread, the transaction thread, the result thread, how you process the results, and the actual algorithm, the algorithm itself. And so it runs in those 4 core threads in parallel. And the surrounding data system manages all the data synchronization and then pumps it into your algorithm. And this is sort of the block diagram of your algorithm. Inside your algorithm, you have your data subscriptions, what you've subscribed to and how you want, what data you want, and then the model time, and then the transaction model, the order queue, which we skimmed over before, and then the sort of events and portfolio management. The data feed generation and synchronization is done in this data feed thread, and it's all done for you. It's all part of the back end of QuantConnect that we're going to be open sourcing. And it really, you take the subscriptions that you want. You know, if I want S&P, I want Apple, I want the S&P 500 stocks, and it generates, it figures out where the data is, and it generates the objects from the raw source data. And at the moment, it's actually designed to work on a flat file system, but you could design it to work on a database. But a flat file system is just ridiculously fast, so we just went with that. And then it sort of generates those objects and puts them into queues and synchronizes them using this data stream generator, and then pumps it into your algorithm. On the other side over here, we've got the transaction handler thread. So a lot of the time, of course, in real life, orders are asynchronous. You send them off to the markets, and they get filled and returned in their own time. So whether that's a millisecond or a second, it's still asynchronous. So the algorithm pumps the orders into an order queue, and then they get filled in the market, and then it generates events. So when the orders get filled, those events come back to the algorithm, and then we update our local portfolio based on the order events. And the order event might be, half of our order has been filled at this price. And then the other event comes in and says the other half of our order was filled at a different price. And then the portfolio manager combines those events and slams it into the user strategy. And then finally, but importantly, the result handler. So it's generating all of the debugging, all the logging, all of the order processing, and taking all that information and sending it to the user, whatever form that may be. If you're doing a local GPU system, you could send it to your local CPU. But for us, we're taking all this information and we're piping it to the user, to the desktop, to the browser-based IDE. But yeah.
Good.
And then there's a few other smaller event handlers, like a real-time handler, so that you can generate real-time events at certain times through the day, which can be handy, of course, for like generating events before closing. We're actually going to open this up in the next few days. We're going to open it up so you can generate real-time events whenever you want, and you can tell QuantConnect to ping your algorithm at certain times during the day, which should be awesome. You should be able to do a lot of fun stuff with that.
Wow.
So yeah, that's the architecture, and this will all be included in the documentation and the raw source code when we open source it, hopefully in the next week.
Another question came in, a good one for newbies, from Luca.
The question, what would be, in your opinion, the entry-level knowledge schedules to start working on learning a platform? So I apologies if I made this too technical. Based on the previous previous meetings with Brian, the audience was very technical. So
yeah, the majority are, but we get the occasional new guy.
Yeah, no, that's fine too. So absolute basics, you can get into QuantConnect and you can get into algorithmic trading, but I really wouldn't recommend it until you sort of know what you're doing. You can lose a lot of money if you don't know how to program and you try and do algorithmic trading. So, the most basic algorithm in QuantConnect is only 5 or 10 lines of code, and it's easy to see those lines and sort of guess what it's doing write something which does, for example, a moving average cross. If the moving average is the fast moving average is bigger than the slow moving average, you can literally build that strategy in QuantConnect with 4 or 5 lines of code. But if you do, you'll lose so much money. So I recommend spending 3 to 6 months to really get to know the intricacies, like risk control. What is risk control? How are you going to control the cash that your portfolio is trading in? How are you going to control, for example, that your algorithm doesn't trade 1,000 times in a second? If you're just looking at the pure moving average cross signal, it could cross back and forth 100 times a day. And if you're paying a few dollars for your trading fees, crossing a few hundred times a day, you're going to be losing a lot of money. It's not that even if you could have a fundamentally good idea, a fundamentally good alpha, like the signal that you're working on is good, if the implementation is bad, then you'll still lose money. Which is why, in my opinion, the sort of visual editors will never work. Because if you do any sort of simple visual editor, you're going to miss out on all the intricacies of implementing risk control, signal bouncing. So in mechanical engineering and electrical engineering, there's this concept that I love that really applies to the markets. It's called debouncing. And if you take a mechanical switch and you flick the light switch, for example, you don't see it, but within a millisecond, the switch is bouncing on and off the contact, 100 times before the light finally connects and the light comes on. And that signal, where it's flicking on and off 100 times within a millisecond, that's exactly what can happen with your algorithm.
Yeah.
You can do the whatever your signal is, you tell it, buy when this happens, and then, it flicks back and forth 1,000 times before it actually settles on the right direction. And in that time, you lose all your cash.
And he puts in a smiley face. Oh, another question came in from Steven, I guess.
So, yes. You're talking about, so Steve just said that beyond all the trade logic, there is a lot of housekeeping that needs to be done. Did the trade actually go on? Did it enter at the price it was supposed to? Is the market closing? Is it time to get out of the market and that sort of thing? Yeah, I think adding to the point about getting started as a beginner, it's worthwhile taking your time because there's a lot of that extra housekeeping stuff to happen. QuantConnect takes care of a lot of that for you. So like we're going to manage whether or not the trade happens. It's going to sit in the order queue until it's filled. The average fill price and all of the order API, all of the execution is all done in the back end for you. Like one of the annoying things recently that I had to write up was with interactive brokers, if I send an order which passes through 0, if I'm long and it goes short, if I've got 100 and I sell minus 200, interactive brokers automatically just goes to negative 100 holdings. But with other brokerages, they actually don't. And I didn't realize that until I actually started writing the brokerage APIs, that we had to break it up into 2 trades. We had to close the position and then open a new one that went short. And all of that stuff we take care of to simplify it for the users.
Yeah, I've come across some weird things as well.
With the different brokerage APIs, right?
Yeah, well, it's with IB itself. Lots of weird things.
Oh, right.
Yeah. What they advertise doesn't mean that they'll necessarily be the right thing.
Right.
Anybody else got any questions? Anybody else? Coming up to just under an hour. Anybody have any questions? Because usually I'll say, we're going to close it off, and then we get another 3 questions, so I don't want to have to do that.
Yeah, I think last time you went for like 4 hours. So
we've had 5 hours one.
Yeah, last time was 5 hours. And so when I was mentally preparing for this, I was thinking, okay, my battery is about 3 hours. I don't know if it's going to last that long.
Well,
Okay, but let's open this one. Let's open this one. This is a fun one.
in the
So we had a user from Turkey, and all of the common trading platforms in the world are all just targeting the US market or the UK market. So one of the things I love about QuantConnect is that you can import any data, literally anything. And so you can people import weather data, and this guy wanted to import Turkish data from the Turkish exchanges. And so I wrote him a example algorithm which imports from Yahoo and Google. Here, I'll make the font bigger. So here's the custom Yahoo algorithm, and here's the initialize method, just like before. You set up the start dates for your backtest and the end dates in the cache. And then here, we just say add data Yahoo, and then the code of what we're looking for. And then similarly, add data Google, and there's NYC TKC. So TKC here is Turkcell, which is a Turkish cellular provider. And then here we have on data, it's an event that takes Yahoo data. So when we have Yahoo data, we pass it into this event handler. And it's just like the rest of QuantConnect. We say order the Yahoo data. Here's order the index fix. So here the index fix is coming from Yahoo. So then when we get a Yahoo event, if we don't have anything, we just buy the fix. And that's it. And then here with the on trade bars, which is the QuantConnect data handler, we're not actually doing anything. We don't need the QuantConnect data in this example. And so here's the Yahoo file, and all it's doing is defining the shape of the Yahoo data, and then where we're getting it from. So we're returning the string here. We're wanting the Yahoo data set from Quantbook, and then the start and end dates, and then converting it to a object. And in this case, we've actually done this explicitly. So people can do it explicitly, or we're releasing a new data type, which is completely generic. So it'll read the URL, it'll go to the URL, download the data, figure out the format for you automatically, and then automatically stream in that format of data into the event handler. It's going to be super, super cool. And then using this, run a quick backtest. Using this, it's fetching the Yahoo data, it's downloading it, it's running a backtest and importing it into QuantConnect, all in a few lines of code for any sort of global markets. So Steve's question is, is there enough data streams for the price to trade multiple stocks and forex, some kind of currency ring? Which we have 3 or more pairs working in a total system. If I understand your question right, yes, you can import multiple currencies. You can import whatever you want. So, for example, if you wanted to use the US currencies as a hedge against the markets, you could import forex data and US market data, and then move back and forth between the euro and the US markets, and use it as a hedge. Arsene, why would people choose this instead of NinjaTrader? Good question. I mean, there's why would people choose this in terms of MetaTrader, NinjaTrader, TradeStation? There's a list of people out there. We provide data going back to 1998 for the entire US markets at tick resolution. So there's literally about 4 terabytes of free financial data available. Right now it's not released, but we're releasing a cloud optimization. So you'll design your algorithm, you'll set a parameter range or a parameter, an optimization style, and it will literally take your algorithm and backtest it 100 or 1,000 times on the cloud. So if you're using any of those other desktop platforms, they're all limited by your PC. and what you're doing locally with your local data and your local CPU. But what we want to do is combine the cloud and the desktop and give you the best of both worlds. And do it in a way that we've rethought the entire experience from scratch. So we build it all in C#. It's not some funny, easy language on top of, some binary, who knows what's happening underneath the surface. This is raw C#. You can go in and you can look at the engine. It's 100% managed code. And so there's a lot of power in that. There's a lot of very dynamic flexibility.
And you hit the wall less too.
Sorry, was that?
You hit the wall less too. I get a lot of people complaining about those platforms.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of people think they're too simple. They make it too dumb. It's not flexible or powerful enough. So we get a lot of people coming from MetaTrader and NinjaTrader coming to QuantConnect. We're quite happy.
Yeah, same here.
But I definitely agree that they're a lot more mature than we are. We're a startup. We're two engineers. We're sort of bootstrapping it, and we're trying to be entirely community funded and community driven. So, I work on this 16 hours a day.
I hear you.
I love it. But I think that's one thing that you'll never get from those other platforms is that people ask for a feature, and most of the time we can build it within within a week.
Yeah,
within reason.
We've had engineers from TradeStation be part of our group, and the stories they'll tell you. It's just better to go down this path, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I had conversations with TradeStation a long time ago, and they said they wanted to build something very similar, and it's been, I think, a full year now, and they haven't released anything. so I don't know if they'll ever get to this point.
Yeah.
And by the time they get to this point, we'll be light years ahead of them.
Well, here's a comment from Steve. Ninja is said to be finicky. TradeStation uses easy language that falls short from what others tell me, and MetaTrader has its issues too. I can give you all kinds of things, but we'll just leave it at that. I think there was a question missed. Again, Steve asked about. So you can test with three or more currencies in parallel.
Yes, you can import the data anyway. It's all very accessible here. Easiest way is we just search for USD, and we can see Canadian dollar, Swiss franc, Japanese yen, Australian euro, English pound, and there's a few cross currencies there. The full list is in the data library. If you go to quantconnect.com/data, then you can see the full list. We don't support thousands of forex pairs. We just sort of picked the top ones, which isn't ideal. In hindsight, I would have picked everything, but perhaps we'll change the data source so that we can have a lot more currency pairs there. But yeah, you can import the data. I don't know if you could actually trade all of those different ones, especially if they're against each other.
Yeah. Stephen came back with another question. Sorry, go ahead.
No. Asim said, what are the commissions? So at the moment we've connected live through Tradia. Tradia is a startup brokerage that has $3.50 per trade. And for QuantConnect signups, they're actually issuing $1,000 of free commissions when you sign up to Tradia through QuantConnect, and so that is awesome. There's no way we'd get that, or anyone would get that through Interactive Brokers. That said, we will have to connect to Interactive Brokers soon, and that's the standard Interactive Brokers fees, which is by memory, it's 1 cent per share. With a maximum of 0.5%. And then, sorry, go on.
So there was just another question from Steve. We bypassed it.
Sorry, I missed it.
Yeah, I'll just repeat it out. So he says, so there's enough data streams for the price to trade multiple stocks or in Forex, some type of a currency ring which would have 3 or more pairs working as a total system. I think you already covered that pretty well.
Yes. I mean, if that's your strategy, go ahead.
Yeah.
Pull in all the data you want. Essentially, it's going to be by asset type and then symbol. So if you tell us that it's a Forex and this is the symbol, then we're going to look for it in QuantConnect and then look for it in Interactive Brokers for live trading. Tradia actually doesn't have currencies, sadly, but when we add Interactive Brokers, we'll be able to do Forex trading through QuantConnect as well, and with FXCM, of course. C. Char says, how do you compare yourself with Quantopian? So yeah, no, good question, and it's bound to come up. We were similar in some ways. I mean, on the surface level, and I get asked this a lot, so I actually answered it publicly on Quora. And here you can see the advantages and disadvantages of Quantopian. So immediately we have more data. So we're not just minute resolution where the full US equities at tick, second, or minute resolution. We have all the ETFs, and we go back to 1998. So it's a long time there. There's a lot of market crashes you can model. And then Forex started back to 2007. And a lot of people instantly say, that's just for high frequency trading, that you would need second resolution data. But I think it's much more than that. I think it's for execution timing. At the beginning of the presentation, we showed a full-on algorithm which did complete execution of the portfolio as well. And within a minute, Apple can move enormously. And if you've sat in front of the console and you've watched the minute happen, I'm sure you can identify that. You've seen your portfolio go up and down by $500 within a minute. I wouldn't discount the advantage of execution within a minute.
Right.
So then on top of that, we're literally 10 times faster than them, and we're getting faster. We've run benchmarks head to head, and we finished a 10-year back test in under a minute. We've got a full charting API, so you can create line graphs, candle graphs, stock plots, stacked charts, overlaid charts, everything. It's all through C#, and it just automatically shows up in JavaScript in the web browser. It's project-based design, so I didn't even go into this, but you can actually, there's full-on folders. So here we're going to create a new folder and then a new file in a folder. And so here, I hope you can see it. It's probably small for you guys, but there's a folder in your project, and you've got your file there. So if you want to build, complex, multi-layered algorithms, it's entirely possible in QuantConnect. And then executing parallel backtest and optimizing. This is kind of core to what we do. You've got this result manager on the side, and you can execute multiple backtests, and then they'll just queue up here, and they'll just run in parallel, and you can tweak the parameters of your algorithm manually, and soon we're going to make it so it's automatically tweaked. And then finally, coding in Visual Studio. You're going to be able to download the entire data set and, download the entire engine and run and code locally from Visual Studio. We also have in-browser autocomplete, like real C# autocomplete in the browser, in the web browser. And that was very technically challenging to build.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
It's all there, and you can, or you can download it and code locally. This one I personally like. It's like running a stock plot, so you can see where your trades were against the asset price. I'm quite a visual person. When I design an algo, I like to see where the trades were executed specifically. We're trying to build this QuantConnect University, so releasing, I'm being so bad with releasing tutorial videos, but at least we're going to be releasing an algorithm every week, with demonstrating different parts of the QuantConnect API and trying to implement something with a little bit of alpha. We offer support services, though I don't know if we're going to offer them anymore. it's a lot of work.
Yeah, I know.
Hamburger is a relatively small company. And then, the rest of them you can all see there. That's all public on Quora. But yeah, I'll skip to the next question. Futures, I'd love to add futures data. So much. At the moment, it's only daily futures that you can import from Quandl. We've got an agreement with Quandl now so that you'll actually get daily resolution futures data for free inside QuantConnect, but it's still only daily and it's only continuous. So it's not ideal. I want to try and get intraday futures data, and it's really just, it's not a problem of engineering, it's a problem of the exchanges, the CME, whether or not they're open to sharing.
IQ feed is an option there, just to put that out there.
IQ feed has futures?
Yes, it does. It's universal.
Nice. All right. Well, I was actually talking to somebody else today, and we're going to build a data feed adapter for IQ feed.
Oh, that'd be nice.
So maybe, and you just enter your sort of IQ feed details, and it logs in and gets the historical data from them, and the live trading data from them as well.
Yeah, that'd be really good.
Awesome.
I think we are. So Arson's got another question. Are you a broker, or can you choose a broker? I think you pretty well covered that.
I'm not a broker, no, but or you can choose a broker. Yes, you can choose one. At the moment, just Tradia, but ideally Interactive Brokers before the end of the month.
I think Steve's question here is pretty valid. He asked, this would be helpful for an intermarket analysis to set a trade on another traded product. It's a pretty good idea, actually.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I think a lot about, when I was trading myself, I wasn't doing anything that sophisticated. But now that I've been working on it a little bit longer, and I sort of have a better portfolio backtester now. Like when I was trading, it was a single stock backtester. But for QuantConnect, we needed portfolios. And the power of backtesting a portfolio is so much more. And you can do so much hedging and risk control with a portfolio that you can't really do on a single stock. It's much harder.
Yeah. Steven's got another quote. You can find some info in the minute data. Is good quality to be useful, though. It has to be good quality to be useful, though. If you're using IQ feed, I know that's good quality data. So that'd be a good option there, I'd imagine.
Yeah, and I'm fairly confident of QuantQuote's data quality. They've got exceptional data quality. We get every single tick from every single exchange in the US. Like dark pools, everything.
Really, eh?
Every single one. Yeah.
I have to look at them.
And it's so good that it's bad. Like when you get IQ feed and all these other retail feeds, it's they filter a lot.
Yeah.
And you're not actually seeing a real indication of the market. So we had to do the same filtering when we built the trade bars, because otherwise people would say that our data feed didn't match Yahoo and our data feed didn't match Google. That's because Yahoo and Google are hiding all of these events which happen in the market, because they just don't apply to most retail users. So they completely cut them out of the tick feed.
I think Arson got another question here. Can API calls be made to web services from your live platform?
Yes, yeah, exactly. Of course. And that's one of the beautiful things. Like people will, there's a number of users and they want to use QuantConnect as the, so Arson, first you probably missed the custom data section that we went into before. So you can request custom data sources like a Bitcoin API and push that into your event handlers inside QuantConnect. Or if you wanted to sidestep QuantConnect system entirely, it's entirely possible, and you can have a web client there that's running your own custom REST APIs or making requests to your own sources, and it's a persistent algorithm. It's got its own server. It's running on a dedicated box with a virtual box with 512 allocated and a 20 gig disk, and you set up your REST API calls and do whatever you want. It's exciting.
Just so you know, Jared, we've got a comment. Serge dropped off, but he said, "Great presenter. He must go. But I just want to let you know that he said it was great information.
Thank you very much, guys. Really appreciate it.
Luca just dropped off as well. Big shootout. I think he meant shout out. Continue the good work. And it's late for him in Europe. Anyways, sorry about that. Go ahead, man.
No, it's if you like what we're doing, we're a small bootstrap company, so every support counts. If you go to the webpage and subscribe, it's only $10 a month.
Do you want to put that link in there into the chat box so people can know?
Yeah, of course. Definitely.
Because I'll make sure we get that word out on at my end from promoting it and put up on the YouTube channel as well. Take your time, man. In the meantime, Arson asks, your broker supports contracts on futures such as NQ, ES, and TF. I think you meant data provider.
No, for Tradia, they don't do futures yet. They only do US equities. But Interactive Brokers does do futures. So hopefully you're familiar with Interactive Brokers, Arson, and check with them for the technical details. But once we add Interactive Brokers, you'll be able to find your assets by symbol and markets. So that won't be an issue. You'll be able to pull in that stuff for live trading.
Yeah.
The harder part really is the historical backtesting when we don't have futures data at the moment. But that's a problem solved by money. If we can find roughly $50,000, we can we can make it available through QuantConnect. But yeah,
taking donations now.
So yeah, subscribe.
Yeah, I mean, take your time on that link. I mean, if you're telling me all the stuff that over Quantopian, I mean that right there is a ding ding ding. You've obviously put a lot more intelligence into the thought process on how to implement it.
Thank you. I hope so. I mean, it's coming from, I'm an engineer who was doing quantitative trading, and I built it. I took what I had built and made it better, and then put it on the web. We've taken a different route. I mean, we've chosen to be bootstrap. We've chosen to keep it lean, the whole company. And we named the company the Lean Engine. It's kind of a statement about our company and the actual technology that we're releasing. It's hopefully it doesn't have any junk code. It's super lean and readable and easy to use. I put the link in the chat already.
Okay, great.
The timeline with.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so the Arson, the timeline for adding Interactive Brokers is hopefully this month. It's the most requested broker. We have to. It's the top of our priority list. No, that's as soon as possible. The only thing that we're thinking about adding before adding Interactive Brokers is portfolio selection, so that you can. I want the S&P 500, and I want it to automatically rotate the symbols in and out, so that you can avoid selection bias. And that's kind of a key part of a real quantitative strategy, is you want to avoid selection bias. And at the moment, QuantConnect is kind of susceptible to selection bias. But so once we solve that core problem with the platform, then we can start adding brokerage APIs left, right, and center.
I think Steve just asked another question. You got
right.
that?
Yeah. So Steve's. Exactly. Like one of the demonstration blog articles I wrote was about Twitter. So Twitter's got a very easy to use API, and you can pull data off the API, like a real-time stream, and you can get the current stream of Twitter tweets. So you could very feasibly write an algorithm which is scanning Twitter for Microsoft mentions and the context they mentioned in, and start trading based on that, which is really fun. Really geeky, but really fun. The potential is huge for the platform, and I'm really excited about it. Like, in the next month, hopefully, maybe February, because we have to do it after IB. So, but soon we're going to release a dedicated Bitcoin algorithm, which manages all of the Bitcoin historical data for you and all of the live Bitcoin connections for you. And then it's just, you write an algorithm that's actually trading on Bitcoin. And you just enter your wallet information and the exchange or your account information where you're trading, and that's it. I think it'll be phenomenal. We'll be one of the first, algorithmic trading with Bitcoin companies in the world.
Looks like you got yourself a programmer.
Awesome. Yeah, shoot me an email. We're super lean, so if you like ramen noodles and living in a garden shed, then yeah, we're hiring. But definitely get in touch, and we're trying. If we raise money, then great. But if we don't, then we're quite happy to keep hacking. But yeah.
Anybody else got questions? I'm impressed with it for sure. It's the first time I've ever seen a real cloud computing solution for a trading platform, and it looks really, really good.
Yeah, I think I totally skimmed over the backend, but it's all built on top of Mono. So it's the servers on the backend are actually all Linux. We're using the Mono C# stack, so there's no .NET in there officially. So that way we're cross-platform Linux and Windows, so that when you download the source code, you can upload it wherever you want. And the benchmarks are like 90% of C++, and I like to say that it's 90% of the speed of C++ with about 10% of the hassle. So when you're programming C++, it's a nightmare.
Oh yeah. Anybody else?
I think that Bitcoin would be unstable, it's new and subject to volatility, and into the future will be a more sedate. Yeah, maybe. It depends what your algorithm is. You might love the volatility. Arsen, that's a good point. I'll be in New York in March. So I assume Battle of the Quants is in New York in March. Yeah, cool. Then I'll see you there. I'll go talk to Bart, and maybe we can present this year.
That'd be awesome. Anybody else? Questions, comments? Hate mail? Anybody? You should come out to more to see how we work it around here. Anybody? Let's give some Jared loves some privacy of code from Arsen.
Yeah, it's definitely an issue, and so I mentioned it earlier, but we, in order to execute the algorithm, we need the algorithm. There's no way around it. So, and in order to offer the data for free, the data providers have said that we can't, give people data. So we have to give people access to the data, but yeah, we still need to put your algorithm next to the data and then execute it there. So there's no way around that, sadly. But we do provide, that's why we're open sourcing. I mean, so you can download it, and if you're worried about the privacy, you can run it entirely locally. And otherwise, if you're not too worried, we try and align our interests with yes, it's our policy not to look at the client code, absolutely. We mention it in the terms of the website, which is QuantConnect.com/terms, and then you can see we explicitly ask you. We'll send you an email. We'll say, do you mind if I look at your code? And then you'll have to reply yes in writing, and then we'll go and open and help you debug it. But on top of that, we just try and, we're not a big anonymous corporation. We're trying to align our interests with you and be community driven. And I think the quant trading space is so tiny. So it's super important that we don't damage our reputation. So, if there's only 50,000 quants in the world and we damage or steal someone's algo, it's going to be really bad, and we're going to go out of business really fast. So we're looking at this for the long term, and we want to make sure that we have a good sterling reputation for the long term. But that's the best way to explain it. We align our interests. We ask you for permission first. If you're really worried, you can download it locally. Thank you guys all for the comments. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, hopefully I got some good ideas from it. Ed Wall said, good presentation. Just look for it. How do you make money? $10 a month is not much for a full service platform. James says good. Looks awesome. I guess from Steve. How you make money?
Yes. Yeah, Steve, absolutely. $10 isn't much. We're offering it at $10 for the first 100 people, because basically we don't even want the money. We want people's love and attention. So if we want validation that we should even be in this business, if we can't find 100 people that can pay $10 a month, then we should go get a day job. I think the crowdsourcing campaign is almost finished, and so that's validation for us that we should continue. And we're really happy to have those 100 people that love what we're doing. In the long run, I think the subscription price for just the live trading servers will be like $20 a month, and maybe we earn brokerage revenue on the back end as well. So every time we introduce you to a brokerage and you start trading, the brokerages pay us. And yeah, we've got ideas later to do competitions. So find if the hedge fund wants an algorithm, and they'll crowdsource the algorithm through QuantConnect, and we'll launch a $10,000 prize and a job with a hedge fund. So we might do some sort of crowdsourced algorithm development. That's in the long run, though.
I think we got some more love for you from various people. Vlade says, great. Set any parameters. Thanks for the contest. Set the parameters desired and test the gain and drawdown. That's from Steve.
Yes. So the API for the it's not public yet, but the API is going to be something like this, with a parameter 0, 10, steps of 1, something like that. So you can do a far parameter.
Another question from Steve. So a fund can come in and ask for a 2% per week and less than 5% drawdown or similar.
Right, yeah, if the contest, they can set the parameters and desired drawdown for the contest. And then they can crowdsource it, and they can just look at the results, the equity curve, and maybe interview the quants and then pick the best one. I think from our experience, hedge funds don't want a strategy, they want a quant. A strategy only works for a month or 2 months until it needs to be tweaked and optimized. So they really want a quant managing the money and optimizing it and looking at the market for them. So it might be a part-time job rather than just a straight competition. But that sort of stuff is down the line. At the moment, we're just focused on sort of getting to the first 1,000 live trading quants. So if we can find the first 1,000 live trading quants, we'll be really happy. And then we can think about the bigger picture after that.
Anybody else? Comments? Questions? I really like it. I do. Steve's got so more stable algo is a good fit for the market. Vlad says, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, people. The sort of numbers that people have said is that for forex hedge funds, it's a Sharpe ratio of more than 2, and for equity hedge funds, it's a Sharpe ratio of more than 3 to get into the prop shop sort of market. To get into the retail hedge fund market, it's a lot lower barriers. But to get into a prop shop managing $10 million with a 20% return for your strategy, then it's you need sort of at least a 3.0 Sharpe ratio.
Anybody else? Questions? Comments? We got 13 people left, 12 people now. Anybody? We're just an hour and a half. That's a good length of time. Anybody before we close down? Anybody? I'll put this up on YouTube for everybody. Go ahead, sure.
So this was I just skimmed over it, but this was running the Yahoo data, and it's importing the VIX curve and buying on the VIX, and so that's just the characteristic spike in the VIX in 2007, 2008, and then the same in 2011, 2012. Asking about, sorry, I missed your question.
about copying transactions. I think we want to restate that question, Arson. I want to retype it. We obviously missed it.
Sorry. Can you repeat it?
Yeah, just retype it, Arson.
Oh, in other words, you'll identify successful strategies and duplicate their actions. Is that what you said?
Okay.
What do you mean?
What you just
in what context? QuantConnect's not going to. I gave up. Yeah, so QuantConnect itself doesn't do any trading because I wanted to avoid conflict of interest. One of the things we looked into was the master-slave setup that Steve was talking about, so that retail investors could copy your algorithm. And I'm sure you've all heard of collective2.com. I won't link to them. They're kind of competition.
Yeah.
Collective2.com, and it's kind of exactly that, where you upload your strategy and retail people copy it. The problem that we saw was that well, with Collective2, you don't earn a percentage of the capital managed. And so you could have a retail investor which is milking your strategy and you're only going to earn $30 a month from it. So we didn't like that model. With the US legal system, you can't charge a percentage assets of management unless you're a registered financial advisor, and so it becomes more complex. So it really limits the market of quants that could do that. You have to charge a fixed monthly price unless you're a registered financial advisor. And that's a totally different thing though, is that you can shadow trade a larger fund if you're managing your own money. But if you're managing someone else's money with your algorithm, then that's a different story altogether. I feel like I didn't answer your question though. Do you mind restating the question in case I missed it?
That's for you, Arson. I think he joined late, so you out there, Arson? Oh, here we go. You provide a good example. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. We're very open. I mean, at this point, we're kind of focusing on getting live trading and adding more brokerage APIs and getting more live trading users. But the long term, we've got lots of exciting ideas, and we're just following the evidence where we see it. So maybe that's going to be copy trading with retail users, or maybe that's going to be becoming a brokerage in a few years' time. Maybe we'll be the next trade station online. We just become a brokerage, and there's thousands of quants trading their quantitative strategies. Especially because for every one quant, there's 50 or 100 financial people, in the financial industry, hedge fund managers, recruiting people. There's a ratio of maybe 50 to 1 or 100 to 1. So all of those people want to do quantitative investing. They're all savvy enough to know what it is, and so there might be an opportunity later to do some sort of copy trading. I mean, we're never going to open up the user's code ever. It's always going to be private. We're never going to look at the user's code, and they're never going to do anything with your code unless you want us to. So it's just we'll put a button on the website and you say, click here to look at, copy trading. And I'm talking about like 2 years from now. So it's not really. I wouldn't want to speculate what we do in 2 years. But the thing that's absolutely critical for quants is, of course, that your code is completely private. And it's a matter of our reputation that we maintain its privacy. So this is the top of our list as well.
Anybody else?
Okay,
go ahead.
Arson asked, do we run reports on who is doing well? We actually don't. We don't even look at it to that level. We don't even look at the outputs. We don't look at the files. We don't look at the projects. We don't look at the outputs. Nothing. We probably should. We probably should at least scan the outputs, but we don't at the moment. So we've got too much to do.
Yeah, I can relate to that, especially if you're doing 16 hours.
Yeah.
Anybody else got any questions at all? Oh, here, Steve's got one.
Yeah, I thought about that too. Like, it'd be awesome to have a public feed. Imagine if you had a public feed of backtests from the users that want to share their backtest results. Just the backtests, nothing else. Not the trades, not anything. No, just the backtests. And so you could see the stream of backtests coming through QuantConnect. That would be fascinating to watch. You know, and you'd have, it could either be anonymous or you could attach your name to it. So you could see, this anonymous user got a 6.0 sharp, or this your name, Steve Perot got, whatever, sharp ratio, and it comes up on the stream of results. I think that would be fascinating. And you wouldn't be able to clone it unless you want people to clone it. So, who knows? It's definitely on our list as well. I think it would be very interesting for hedge funds, like for people that are looking for a job or looking for the algorithm to get funded. Having a stream of backtests and having their name appear in the top 10 would be very valuable for job hunters. And validity, exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Questions, comments? I'm gonna assume not. No. Nobody? Anybody? Questions, comments? No? Jeff says no. Anybody else? Thanks, Jeff. Data firing. The data firing. I don't know what he means. Anybody else? Oh, fitting. Data fitting.
Yeah, I mean, I can't control that. Curve fitting. Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure people are going to design strategies which curve fit. Yeah. And I can't do anything about it. But the downside is if you publish your strategy publicly and you curve fit, you're going to make yourself look really good. But yeah, that's life at the moment. Reverse the zigzag to get your timing.
Steve? Want to retype
Yeah,
that?
maybe we could do out of sample testing. I think that's what you mean.
Oh, but he means to fake good results.
Ah, right.
To manipulate.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's the downside of having a public feed without the code. So this is, I just cloned Michael's example. He posted it to the feed. He made a ribbon using EMA. It's just visual candy. But this is sort of an example of the charting that you can do in QuantConnect. He does it with like 3 lines of code.
Wow.
And these are all the different moving averages. Yeah, and visual candy is always well received. And here you can see like the moving average crossing over, and it's amazing.
Nice. Yeah. Anybody else got any comments? Anybody? No? You know what? If we want, we can wrap her up. You want to do that, or want to continue chatting? You on a timeline, Jared?
It's
10:42 right now. Oh, Jeff says bye.
I've got about 30 minutes.
Okay.
Nice to meet you, Jeff.
Jeff.
Thank you guys all for listening. Hey, somebody signed up.
Awesome. Hey, that's what we're trying to do.
Appreciate it. Please go join. Give me feedback. We're super open to feedback. So, if we're missing something, if we need to make it better, just let me know, and we'll make it better. Our goal is to make this the best backtesting platform in the world. It's simple, but we're going to be the best algorithmic trading platform in the world.
I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. For every possible thing, if you're a quant, what is your utopia? What is the best quant platform you can think of? It's unlimited, free, exponential, highest resolution data, the fastest backtesting possible, every single brokerage, every single market, every single Indian, Australian, everything. The best backtesting in the world. Yeah. But it's going to take us time and support to get there, but that's why we're open sourcing.
Yeah. So Arson just asked another question here about converting into indicators.
Yeah, we'd love some help. We're building them one by one. I know it sounds really pathetic, but we've only got EMA, SMA, and MACD at the moment because we just launched a new indicator system underneath. Because the new indicator system is extremely easy to use. Yeah, I'll try and find an example for you. So it's here. The new indicator system, you just tell it with one call, the symbol that you want to trade, the period, and then the resolution that you want the EMA from. So if it's a daily EMA, it's one line of code, and you get the EMA in here. And so now, one by one, we're rolling out indicators in this format. So it's extremely simple to use, and it's all updated automatically, all behind the scenes. And then this is has a decimal implicit operator, so you can do beautiful things like this down here. I don't know if you can see it, but here's the fast EMA indicator. If the fast EMA indicator is greater than the slow EMA, and that's all you need to do the moving average cross strategy.
Arjun just asked another question. Two more.
Sorry, and then over the next month, we're going to be rolling out about 10 or 15. We've already written them. They're just going through the tests now. We just need to release them once they pass all the tests.
Two more questions.
Do you offer a range? Sorry, Brian.
Go ahead. No, go.
Do we offer a range-based chart? No. But send me an email and let me know what it is.
Yeah, give us an example of what you mean, Arson. I'd be curious to know about that. Here's another one. Another good idea from Steve.
If you could make an MT4 indicator import function to make the MT4 code in the QuantConnect code, it would be a way to get many of the basic and diverse indicators. Yeah, it's true. I think, is MT4 open source?
No.
We'll have to check into the licensing. I don't know if that's possible legally. Yeah.
You can download demo copies.
Yeah, you can download copy. I wouldn't want to step on anyone's toes. And part of it is we don't want we intentionally avoided TAlib. We could have just gone with TAlib and had everything instantly. But the way that we've built it, we can build the full power of C#. Like you can take these indicators, you can use them individually as objects, the exponential moving average object. You can update the data manually, so you could pump in your own data. If you don't want to use the event data, you could, for example, take your web service and take the data from your web service, create an exponential moving average object, and do the indicator on your own data completely manually. Like, we don't want to take away the control of a full C# platform. And so that's why we kind of decided to build things from scratch, so that you could have the power, but also the simplicity. Range pass. We do candle plotting. What we need to add is line charting, but at the moment that's all we've got.
Anybody else?
Maybe.
Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead, Jim. Sorry.
I still don't understand that question properly. Sorry.
Want to type it again?
I think that's the beauty of what I've learned working on QuantConnect. There's 10,000 quants with 10,000 different ways of doing things. And it's amazing. Like, I get asked so many questions and I have no idea what they're talking about, because the way that I did things wasn't the way they did things. But it's the best part of building this is that I have to make it generic and powerful enough to handle everyone's needs. We would love people to help code for us. So that's part of why we're open sourcing, is that we want this to be community driven. We want it to be community funded, community driven, to build the best open platform in the world. And to do that, we're definitely going to need the community's help. And so, if you guys have something, first sign up, and then sign up to the GitHub, watch the GitHub repo, and then when we push changes, pull the changes down, look at the code, add the updates, everything. We'd love your help.
And Blaze came back with a question.
Yeah, so, Vlade, Michael is a new guy that's joining the team. He actually loves Renko bars, and so he's making sure that the indicator system can support Renko bars as well. I know nothing about Renko bars, so we'll have to ask him. But the way that he designed it so that he could do his Renko trading as well.
Any other questions at all? Comments? No problem.
No problem.
Anybody else? Nobody else. We could end it right now if you'd like. Just under 2 hours. It's pretty good.
Yeah, maybe before my battery dies and we cut up unexpectedly.
Yeah, why don't we do that? What I'll do is we can post, and we can always do another webinar whenever you like, Jared. Like a part 2.
Fantastic.
Or on anything you want to present. Let me know. This is very exciting for everybody. It looks like a big interest, obviously.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate all your time.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for doing it. This was really educational for me, at least. That's for sure. It'd be good to see this again in a few months. Yeah, I agree, Steve. Yeah,
excellent.
Love to see the progress.
I want to show you a demo of live trading. I want to show you, importing a Bitcoin algorithm and importing a totally generic algorithm. It's so flexible.
Arson just came back with definition here. If you got that.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, I mean, there's a million different indicators to go through. It's hard to cover them all. That's the problem.
All right. We're using in the browser, we're using high charts, which is uses a time-based axis. So I don't know if that's possible, but in the desktop, it's going to be a console application first. So when you download the open source program, it's going to be a console application. But then we're going to build a desktop GUI as part of the sort of download that will be included so that you can run local backtests fairly easily. And that charting library was probably going to be a lot more powerful and flexible than high charts because it's in a browser. So I wouldn't want to promise anything now, but maybe we can do it later.
Yeah. Steve came back with one. Let's leave it. This is the last question.
Right, it's true. Like I think the most popular ones don't work ever, or maybe they. And I define work as in they match or better the Sharpe ratio of the S&P. So if assuming the same data, like assuming the S&P for the benchmark and the S&P for your algorithm, like you're not allowed to trade Apple, that's cheating. Doing an EMA on Apple is going to get you fantastic results, but it's cheating.
Yeah.
So, assuming S&P and S&P EMA, I think it works, but it might just work because it's sometimes because it's curve fitted. I don't know if it'll ever work in reality, but it's certainly the most popular. We have to add the indicators that people want, and right. Even if they, in my opinion, I don't think they'll work, but that's what people want. So. We have to make sure we have all the basics covered.
You want to take one more last question and then we'll wrap her up. Oh, there's a quote here or a link here.
Thank you, Arsene. I'll look it up later and I'll see if we can add it. I appreciate the idea though.
Why don't we wrap her up then? Thanks a lot, guys and gals, for showing up. I know we had 2 ladies tonight. That's a first. But Guys, thanks a lot. Awesome questions. Oh my God, I know. Sorry. But thanks a lot, Jared, for putting this out. I'm going to be really watching this. This is really exciting to see where you go with this.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, guys. Really appreciate your time, and hopefully see you on the QuantConnect forums.
For sure. Okay, thanks again. Have a good night, guys. And we'll do an over and out. All right. Thanks again for coming out. Next week, front end charting. This time next week. Next Monday, 7 o'clock. Later. Have a good night, eh? Take it easy.
Excellent.
Thanks again, eh?
Bye.
See ya. Bye.